The federal government and 4 aviation unions may be headed for a showdown over the plan to concession the 4 international airports in the country. The unions say the plan is against public interest and have also announced their intention to embark on a nationwide protest. The Minister of Aviation last week received the certificate of compliance from the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, giving the government the stamp to go ahead with the process. The unions say that airports concession would lead to massive job losses in the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria. All right, Danjuma Ahmed, Chairman, Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association of FAN, joins me now via Skype to discuss this. It's nice to have you join me right now, Danjuma. On one hand, those who sit down and watch what is going on would say that the concessioning of airports will make them more effective, will make them more accountable, and will make them better off when you compare them to others across the world. But from the perspective of union will say that it's not the best for the country, especially when they're not carried along or there's no consultation and all of that. Now, talk to us basically. What is the upside and the downsides of the issues of concessioning of the airports in Nigeria?
Yeah, good morning, Nigerians. I think we are not talking about the consequences of the concession as regards to job loss or any other. No, we are talking about national interest. The issue of labor is even at the background. What we are saying is that concessioning of our airports at this time is not the right thing. And we do not say it's not right just because it is not right from our own side. No, we provided options. We said, look, if you are saying you are going to concession existing airport, the cash cows of the aviation as far as FAN is concerned, Kano, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, and Lagos. These are the 4 major airports that provide the needed fund to run the over 22 airports being managed by FAN. And you single out the 4 that are viable. What happened to the remaining 18, for goodness sake? These airports must be run. And we, aside from insisting that the right thing should be done, we also opine that you go and do greenfield concession. Nobody has any problem with that. Greenfield concession allows you to give a virgin land to any investor from the scratch, design, construction, and operation for a period of time. Then that clearly shows that from the beginning, from the design, even from the cost of the design, people will get job. The construction period, people will get job. Operational period, people will get job. But this one is an existing structure already. Let me tell you, look at Abuja, for example. The international airport has been commissioned and it is still on operation. As I speak with you, it is being underutilized. What is the concessionaire going to do at that time here? Aside from the other interaction or commitment we have with the Chinese that offer the loans for us to construct those airports. These are technicalities that need to be discussed extensively.
All right, Danjuma. Danjuma, is good you're giving us perspectives to this, but the point there is, from the union's perspective, the strongest message that is coming out is that members of unions will lose jobs the moment concessioning comes on board. Is that the greatest fear?
Not really. That's what I said from the beginning. Our major concern is not even losing job. What we are saying is that Nigerians need these 4 airports, and FAN can manage this airport effectively if allowed. We can do it, and we've been doing it. Like I said, if you are giving a greenfield concession, nobody will have any problem with that. But brownfield concession, that is why maybe the likelihood of job loss is likely to come. It could be, well, from the way we are seeing it, this one is called greenfield concession. That's an existing structure is running, and you want to hand over the management to another person. In that case, definitely people will lose job. But that's not basically our major point of contention. Our major point of contention is that Nigeria needs this airport to manage others that have already been built. And we are saying that if you take off these 4, where are we going to get the fund to manage the remaining 18? You understand that we are not even more particular about job loss. Job loss is there, quite all right. Whether I would like it or not, people will lose their job. But the major concern is that allow competition. You can only allow competition when you give the investors free land to build their airport. Then we compete with them. If you go to my terminal and you discover I'm not doing well, you go to the next terminal and pay high. And that will compel us to also do better. As it is now, there is absolutely nothing, no any investor will put at Abuja International Airport because that airport is perfect. Lagos, we are talking of moving to the new terminal. Which investor is going to bring the old building of the MMA? And mark you, already federal government has posited that late last year, the foreign minister said that MMA International Terminal is going to be brought down by Julius Berger. So what are we talking about? You have already invested money, and you are still investing money, and you are thinking of giving it to a private hand to manage. Why don't you give this private hand virgin land? Let them go build their airport. Then we'll compete with them. Recently, India commissioned an airport focus over concession for over 100 years. They built that airport from scratch. That is what we are saying. Let us do the same in Nigeria. Not what we have labored for years, and we are still operating this airport, and you now carry a hand over to an individual. While we have the capacity to manage these airports. That is our concern.
All right. Now, Danjuma, on the other hand, does the federal government who owns the airport, does it have the right to concession the airport, especially when it comes to from the angle of the law? Who owns the airport and who has the right to concession them? Does the federal government have that right?
Absolutely right. They have the right. They are the ones that build the airport. But what we are saying as Nigerians, we also have the right to be heard. Our opinion may be minority, but we need to be heard. And whatever is going to be done as a stakeholder, critical stakeholder for that matter, government should listen to us. And I think if government listens to us, our advice would direct the government better.
All right, but do you think that the government may not have considered all of those areas before coming out with the decision to concession the airports?
Yeah, I think they had. Let me tell you, I am a member of the project delivery team that is starting with the responsibility of running this concession. Not only concession, even the whole aviation roadmap, the 5 project that has been initiated by the Honorable Minister. In that committee, we advised the committee members that, look, airport concession, particularly as at this time, is a very serious issue. We have a lot of issues that need to be settled. We are not saying government should not concession the airport. It's their property, they can do it. But let us do the right thing. Let us make sure that whatever we are doing is for the interest of Nigerians. And in that regard, we now say, okay, greenfield concession had absolutely no problem. Nobody is going to lose his job. The structure will be brand new, fantastic, all to world-class standard. With the existing airports, no investor, I repeat, no investor is going to bring down MMA and build brand new one. I tell you, whoever you give that facility, you continue to run it as it is. Look, take an example of MPA. MPA concession started very well, but at the end of the day, there were issues. They were not remitting what was expected from them. If not for the doggedness of the MPA MD, Adiz Bala Usman, the operators of the terminals would have messed up that place. So that's what we are saying. Give them the virgin land, let them build their terminals. We compete with them and allow us to operate our own. We have labored to make this facility where it is. I tell you, we can transform this airport to the best.
All right. Has there been any engagement between the unions and the government? Because it seems it's government on one hand and the unions on the other. What is the level of the robustness of your engagement with each other?
Well, it is not much. I could remember on several occasions the minister called a stakeholder forum and the unions were invited. But this is a forum where you cannot voice out everything because everybody wants to talk. So, but in the wisdom of the minister, he coopted others to the committee. But the problem is that even the workings of the committee is not being allowed to flow as is expected. ICRC are the runners of the PDT, that's the project delivery team. But I tell you, most of the time, the suggestions of the committees are being thrown away. Let me give you an instance. The issuance of the OBC last 2 weeks. The last meeting we had, the transaction advisor was, I think as far back as June last year. That was when he submitted the OBC to ICRC. And in the content of that OBC, there was no scope of the concession. Okay, that is which part of the airport do you want to advise government to concession? Questions were asked to the transaction advisor. He could not answer that question. Then surprisingly, we now saw that certificate is being issued. Okay, at what time did that scope arrive? Was that scope arrived at without the input of the PDP? which we are members. But if we were involved in the generation of the scope, we would have been able to advise them, look, guys, this scope you are talking about is not good. Let us do it this way. Let us hold that we will not have issues. But it was done unilaterally by the transaction advisor and whoever that is behind him. That is what we are saying. We are in the committee, but
all right,
advice and suggestions will be relegated to the background.
Thank you. When it comes to the issues of concession, everyone would say, of course, it's good to make the airports viable, but there are all variables in the process of concessioning. I'll need you to pass us through what it would take on the ideal basis if any airport has to be concessioned, not a green airport, not starting it from the scratch, an airport that is existing before. If it has to be concessioned, what are the factors to be considered before it can be allowed to go ahead?
Yes, I think it's clear the ICIC rule is there, and it gives room for you to carry out a greenfield concession. There are parameters we have to deal with. And among these parameters is, first of all, looking at that facility to determine the value and what you really want to concession in that facility. Let's take the airport as an example now. An airport is a massive land and consisting of a lot of factors, equipments, departments, and places of work. Okay, you need to identify from the beginning, what do I really want to concession? And why do I really want to concession in the first place? If you say you are not having value for your money, or the level of work, you are not satisfied with it, or you are not convinced with the services being provided by that particular airport, then you will now find out what were the reasons why these things were not there. Is it the fault of the management of the airport, or in this case in Nigeria, is it the fault of government for not injecting money to bring up the facilities to the required level? Or is it the staff that are working that are not doing their best to make sure that they will get value for money? These are the issues you look at. When you establish that, then you now say, okay, fine. If I identify, let's say, for example, I want to concession the runway. The runway includes the landing and the parking area of an aircraft. Is it that I cannot be able to manage or provide a better runway for the airlines to operate? Is it that I cannot be able to provide a better parking position for the aircraft to park? Or if I'm looking at the terminal buildings, is it the structure that is dilapidated that I want to rehabilitate it? Or is it I want to build another one? Then if it is the land site, is it the parking area that you're not comfortable the way the parking area is being managed, or how it looks like, the beauty and the scenery? These are the factors you look at first before you venture into any concession agreement. If you establish that, fine, let's take for example that, okay, I need to concession the terminal building, for example, because this is a place where people come, you need to have a better service, better lounges, toilets, and everything should be working perfectly all right. Okay, if you agree that, okay, this is what I want to do, then look at the content of that particular area. Do I have challenges? What do I need to put in place first? Because, like I said, most of these terminals are virtually concessioned. Nothing left in that terminal that is not being managed by other individuals or businesses. So what do I do with those businesses? If I'm saying, fine, you, my manager for this place, I don't like the way you are running this place, I want to give somebody. Okay, what happened to the agreement I entered into with the previous concessionaires? These are issues you need to outline and discuss and find a way out of it before you engage, or you say you want to hand over to another person. What are the consequences of your action? These are issues you should look at. Or what can I do to make these people that are working in that place better so that they can give me what I want? You have not exhausted all this. I want to jump and hand over national asset to individuals that we are not sure of whether they can be able to deliver or not.
All right. Now, it's good to make us understand the picture from that window. Now, as it is right now, it is no longer news that the minister has received the certificate to go ahead. What scenarios can play out if the federal government decides they still want to go ahead, since they've been issued the certificate to begin the process to concession?
Yeah. No, the issue is that the outline business case certificate is already, the process has been on. The transaction advisor was appointed. He submitted his insertion report to the ICIC, which was vetted. We all vetted it, and before we allowed him to continue with the next process. He's now submitted the outline business case. From outline business case, you now move to full business case discussion. That is where the nitty-gritty is. You understand? If the minister gets the fake approval that he should go ahead with the full business case discussion, that is why all the items that need to be looked into, including the labor issues, will be discussed. We cannot force government not to do what they want to do. It's their own facility. But what we are saying, as minority, as critical stakeholders, we should be listened to. We will give the government the necessary advice on how best to go about it. If they insist that they must do the concession, we have our own advice that will also give the government, okay, fine, if you insist this is what we want to do, why not do this, do that, so that we will not be in trouble in the nearest future. This kind of concession it looks like rehabilitate, operate, and transfer. Rehabilitate, operate, and transfer come with consequences. Take an example of boycotting. It's rehabilitate, operate, and transfer. It is a very, very terrible agreement that we entered into, even though I can tell a whole brief for ICRC, there was no ICRC when that concession was entered into. But ICRC came in, we were not able to resolve the problem.
All right. Now, Danjuma, before I let you go, there was a statement from your unions that you will make the aviation industry ungovernable if the government decides to go ahead. Is that supposed to be the case?
No, not really. When you say you make the industry ungovernable, okay, it's a statement to tell you that we have something to offer in case if we are not listening to.
All right. Let's leave it at that. Thank you very much, Danjuma Ahmed, for your time on the program. Thank you so much. It's time